Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Go, Mike! What's up, guys? Welcome to UCSS. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? It's game time. What's up, guys?
It's Friday. That's what time it is. It's Friday. The Guardians are home. Got a nice little weekend homestand.
They're playing a single A team.
They are playing a professional, low-level professional team, for sure.
Unbelievable.
Oh, I was going to say this. Hey, happy anniversary to my wife. 4 years.
Oh, you
Rose
better get
Bush
that in.
and G. Bush,
Yeah,
4
yeah.
years today.
4 years, yeah.
What are you doing?
I think
Working?
we're going out to eat or something, but you know that work game is
Where you going? Anywhere special? 4 years is a step above, don't go to like a Bennigan's or anything like that. It's got to be a step above.
Can't wear flair.
Oh.
The servers can't wear flair.
Now let me
Flair.
let me give you this. We stopped going to them places years ago, and when we go, there's other people that are automatically on the train. So yeah, there's no.
It's not just you.
Oh no.
And her.
No.
Well, that's what an anniversary dinner is supposed to be.
Yeah, well,
the two of you.
That doesn't work like that. If you've lived in a collective identity community. My mom's birthday is July 8th.
Oh, you got married and your mom's. Oh no, I see.
No, but it's the same thing. So she was like, "All right, so you could either do this the easy way or the hard way. You can go out to eat once
or twice.
or twice. So let's do the one time and get it over with because I can't just be running around."
I see how that works. Busy show. Guardians trade deadline complete. Steven Kwan will be in left field for the Guardians tonight. There was a lot of question yesterday as to whether or not he would survive the trade deadline. 4 teams really interested from what I was hearing. The Padres, the usual suspects.
Yeah.
The Padres, the Mets,
Dodgers.
the Blue Jays, and the Dodgers.
The Phillies were in too.
I think the Phillies dropped out.
They weren't going to give up Painter.
And the Guardians.
think that ended it.
I think you said this. I've heard this from other people that know the Guardians, and they basically put together a price sheet for all 29 teams.
Yeah.
If they call and they ask for player X, this is the asking price. They do their due diligence. No one met the asking price on Kwan, which honestly should have been a haul because he's got team control.
Yeah.
He's an all-star, multi-time all-star, multi-time gold glove winner. I know the power piece isn't there, but they would have gotten a haul had he been moved.
Yeah,
and they didn't get their numbers, so they stayed.
I said yesterday, I think basically the Padres chose Mason Miller over Steven Kwan.
You know what? I think that's what it came down to, and honestly, that's not the wrong play for them.
I agree. I said
not.
this, and now there's risk. I know Mike wants to keep this to a Kwan, and we will keep it to a Kwan. I think there's risk in what the Padres did because they're trying to turn Mason Miller into a starter.
Right.
And he's had so many injuries. I think you just leave well enough alone.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
So I don't know
Especially
that
someone that throws that hard.
I don't know that I give up the top 5 prospect in baseball for a closer, but if you're turning him into a starter, I get that.
Yeah.
But I just think it's a risk turning him into a starter.
I agree with that.
And once DeVries went off the board, I think that eliminated San Diego from the Kwan conversation. So when we left at 1 o'clock, Bull and I both said, I think it's either the Dodgers with rushing or nothing at all, or else Kwan's going to be here.
Yeah.
And sure enough, that's how it turned out.
This
Kwan was
may
gonna be here.
this may be kind of unpopular, but I just feel like at this point the Guardians couldn't afford to move him. I checked the temperature and I was listening around, and you know, usually when you listen to the radio stations or you go different places on Twitter, Guardians fans are kind of laying in the weeds, so to speak, and not looking at anything. But as soon as they talked about Kwan being gone, I mean, there was people calling up like, "Hold on, no, we're not doing that."
Well, that's always the case, though.
But
it could have turned out to be a smart move if they got the right price.
Yes, but I feel like at this moment where you got multiple scandals, people, you already moved Bieber, you not really gonna make no moves. Is it the most questionable thing? Is it really smart to move your popular second best player for prospects, which you don't play prospects?
No, I think that's a fair question to ask him, Jay. I don't know from a PR standpoint, how much that weighed into
Well,
things.
they're going to go through it again in November because it's
Yeah,
going to
they
happen.
are.
They're going to go through this whole thing again in November, December.
They will.
Because they'll shop him again, and his value will be less.
Did I read Kwan made some comments that he would like to stay here?
Yeah, they all say that.
Well, not all of them.
Yeah, they all
I
say
mean,
it. They don't all mean it. They all say it.
I know, but I was of the impression that when they didn't get him a year ago,
Yeah.
that he wasn't going to stay long term.
Yeah, once you get to arbitration,
The unknown piece to all this is whether Blitzer and his checkbook will be more open to keeping players like this. This is a player the Guardians should keep.
Sure.
This isn't a Jose Ramirez that by all intents and purposes should have gotten away.
Yeah.
This is a guy who has 4 of the 5 tools. He's a Gold Glover. He's an all-star. He's a good clubhouse guy, good citizen. Like, this is a guy they should be able to keep.
So why aren't they?
and
Well, I think under Dolan, the thought is we can't afford him. But let's see what Blitzer does. This might be Blitzer's first big test if he takes over in time.
no, it's too late.
27?
That's too late.
Well,
to sign him, it's too late.
No, he'll be a free agent, right?
Too late.
Well, but
by
even
that
if
point,
he hits the market,
you go to the
it doesn't
market.
mean that you can't sign him.
Yeah, but
I know now you're dealing with everybody else,
Yeah,
but that's
yeah.
what his agent wants to do.
And also, he's sort of in the Bieber camp where he didn't really make a lot of money. Like, he wasn't a high pick. A lot of times, guys who are high picks, when they get the big signing bonus, that carries them to where they don't need to take a team discount, team-friendly type deal, buyout arbitration years and all that, because they got a $5-6 million signing bonus or even a $4 million signing bonus. So they're going to take it to free agency. He's not in that. Just like Bieber wasn't in that. I always thought Shane was a great candidate for a long-term contract, but it never.
I had hoped.
And guys, certain guys put a value on themselves. And the Guardians, I know, have tried to sign Kwan, and he rejected their offer. I don't know what the offer was, but they've tried, and he said no. So he feels like they didn't meet his value, and so here we are. Now, they did it with Jimenez. They gave Jimenez 7 for 105, and then quickly realized, oh, wow, that was a terrible mistake. We have to get off that
wrong guy
money.
to give 7, 105.
But at the time, it felt like the right move. I was thrilled when they did it. I thought it was a great move. He looked like he finished, I think, 6th in MVP voting that season. It looked like the perfect guy to give it to, and it just unraveled. And I was talking about Zach Meisel and I were talking about this the other night. Do you then go to Kwan and basically give him the Jimenez contract? Since you got off at once, can you now
Will that do it?
I don't think it will.
I don't either. I was having a conversation with some friends last night, text, and we were guessing, like, so what will it take for him? And I don't know that 15 million,
That's light.
20 million.
Well,
like, he's going to get more than that,
That's
but he's
light.
not going to get in the, anything north of 20. I don't see him getting.
The Jimenez deal was, I think, 7. There was some options built in. It was 7 for 105. The difference was he was not to arbitration yet.
Right.
And he is. That makes a big difference.
It does make a difference.
So, but I think it at least provides the framework. It's not the exact same contract, obviously.
Right.
But it at least gives you the framework to get something up. I think Steven Kwan is a great player. He's a wonderful player.
Yeah.
He's a guy you want in your clubhouse. He is not a MVP.
He's not a
type
difference
elite.
maker.
Yeah, I almost even want to say that he is at the top lineup. He's a very good player.
Well, for us, he could be, Jay.
He
but
looks even
where
better-
he'll end up, he'll be a piece.
Yes.
The Dodgers,
Yes,
the Mets,
that's exactly
whatever.
right.
He'll be a piece.
But he looks better in this lineup because this lineup is so awful around him.
Right.
He looks like he's better than what he is. He's a great player. I don't know that he is
You'll
the
never.
MVP.
Here's my thing is you'll never find out who is truly of that level and what they mean to you if you only have 1 or 2 players. Like you're selling me the fact that Kwan, he's not that good. Who you replacing?
No.
him with?
No,
Nobody's
one's saying
saying
he's
he's
not
not
that
that
good.
No, not. I'm not saying not that good. I'm saying not that good. Like he
doesn't have the power piece.
So if you got 4 out of the 5 tools on the open market, that's 21, 22 million.
Well, the problem, though, the tool that he lacks is the tool that
Is the
in
one that
demand.
pays the most.
And so that's his problem. Like, if he could swap the glove for the stick, for the power bat,
Yeah.
well, now you're talking probably north of 20,
Yeah.
25 million.
It's
But
like a center in the NBA that doesn't shoot threes.
Here's the
Yeah.
thing.
yes, it is.
So
yeah,
we-
he
so-
can do a lot of things well, but the thing that they most need him to do, he can't.
Well, I need somebody to get on base. They can't do that. I need somebody to score runs. They can't do that.
There's
I
a
need
lot of
somebody
guys,
to-
though, that can do that.
So
They just don't play here.
We don't have any
So
of them.
if the Guardians move, how do they become a better team without him?
Well, the way they could have done it was if they were to move him, Jay, correct me if I'm wrong, they're getting 2 high-level prospects and a plug-and-play.
Probably.
And so the way you do it G, is that you hit on those prospects. Those prospects become more than Manzardo, okay? Manzardo is a hit.
Yeah,
I think, by and large,
absolutely.
if they
For
had to
sure.
go back in time and do that trade over, they would do that trade again.
100 times out of 100.
Because Savali's done.
Yeah.
He's cooked.
Maybe
Yeah.
if they play him against lefties, I would do that. I would say it's a huge hit.
Yeah, I know that's a big talking point. I think we're going to see that a lot more next year. Either way, we'll never know what could have become of the trade because we don't know what pieces were discussed.
Look at the Mason Miller trade. I think that's are they the exact pieces? Who knows? But I think that's at least the framework. Certainly the headliner, DeVries, who's probably 2 years away.
Yeah, and boy, if you could get something like that, yeah.
Yeah, if DeVries hits
You
and
move.
turns out to be who you think he's going to be, he's a superstar.
Yeah. The problem is, we've given up pieces in the past, and I brought his name up on the show a number of times, and he's not tearing it up. But a guy like Ernie Clement was somebody that we had here. Do you know how much different our lineup would look if Ernie Clement was still here? Like, no, he's not he's not a game changer, but
He's a margins guy.
I think he's hitting close to 290. He's got 5 or 6 home runs, and I think
and Tyler Freeman this year having
Tyler
bounced back
Freeman
season.
is another guy. Like, dare I bring up his name, but it does. Like, Miles Straw is playing a serviceable center field this year.
Yeah.
And so there have been some guys that we passed off. The Nolan Jones move, I'm sorry. I'm done hearing, well, he hits the ball hard.
No, it's
And
it's
the
time.
advanced metric.
No, it's time.
This guy is not good.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Like, he had one great year in Colorado. He was hurt last year, didn't have a good year. I was happy when they brought him back.
I was too. I thought
And-
we could see that old Nolan, the
he's-
guy that was in Colorado.
Those are numbers, and he only plays against right-handers for the most part. He doesn't even face lefties.
Those are against the pitchers he supposedly can hit.
Yeah, so I'm done for like the first couple of months. I'm like, you got to hang in there with him. You got to hang in there with him.
Oh,
all
just
the
a
metrics
terrible
say,
move.
All the metrics say he's going to come around. No, we've seen enough.
Would you? 100 out of 100 executives would say, yeah, take Freeman, give me Freeman back, take Nolan Jones.
But again, this is why I think it's a deeper issue that goes to the core of what are they doing on the hitting side, and why I think that whole side needs cleaned out. I mean, look at a guy like Ramon Laureano, who was here, who looked like he
Did
was
nothing here.
Looked like he was at the end of his career. And
Josh
by the way,
Bell has been serviceable since he left here.
Serviceable.
Serviceable.
But
He was not serviceable here.
Laureano was a pretty good player in Oakland. Nobody knows him because he played in Oakland.
I know he was.
He was a good defensive player, had some pop in his bat. He came here and looked like he was at the end of his career. He's rejuvenated himself in
He's just a
Baltimore
trade piece.
and just got flipped. And when that happens time and time again, and then so like Ernie Clement to me is never going to be a cornerstone piece of a franchise.
Not a cornerstone,
but it's a valid.
he's the
point.
guy we need.
It's a valid point that when the guys go elsewhere and regain their stroke or find success, it's like, okay, well, what's happening here that it's not happening? And Tyler Freeman falls into that because I said for years, Tyler Freeman will bat 280, 285 every year. Like, that's just who he
Yeah.
is. He goes the other way. He's a doubles guy. He's a little quantity in, like, he's going to hit for average.
Sure.
Not a ton of power. Does not play a premium position at second
I'd
base.
take him all day long
He's
right now.
hitting 308 right now.
But and that's
I know
the
he
thing.
is.
So like now he's turning into the player he was supposed to be, and it's like, okay, well, why didn't that work here? And Nolan Jones, when they traded him away, had the year in
And
Colorado.
so there's two things at play. Is it development? But the other thing, and this is a fair question that I think we need to ask about the front office, it's also talent assessment. Like, okay, so now for every one of those guys that we've moved that got a rejuvenation to his career, Straw, Freeman.
I can't even put Straw in that category.
I know you can't, but he's playing every day and he's got serviceable. His numbers look incredible to what he did here. They do. I mean, he just so. If you
said
look
Miles
at
Straw?
and even if you don't put Straw in it, yeah, Straw was hitting 180 here.
He's hitting 253.
Yeah.
Now his OPS isn't high, but he is hitting 253,
Bro.
which would be like fourth in the Guardians right now.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. He was when he was here. He was barely. I don't think he was a 200 hitter.
Jimenez is hitting 218.
If you
No, Jimenez is it was the outlier that I brought up. There are a lot of other guys that we've given up on that have moved on that have done much better elsewhere than they were here. So that's a development question. But the other question, guys, that I have is an assessment question. How are we not seeing that there's still stuff left in the tank for all of these guys? Look at the free agents we brought in that we quickly knew, oh man, this was not it. Josh Bell. was a great example. Who was the catcher? Zanino. He was done.
If you guys, but if these guys are analytical based. If they look at their hitting numbers, the first thing you should be thinking about is, guys, should we be reassessing what we are doing in this area? And the question I have is, out of all these other teams that take pieces from other places and get new trains of thoughts and new ways of thinking about stuff, they are in an echo chamber where they develop their guys, they come up through the system, and they only roll with the Guardian system. And if you only rolling with the Guardian system, that's cool if you want to talk pitching, but the hitting is not there. Like, if Miles Straw was batting under 100 and you got 5-6 dudes on your roster right now that are batting under 200, and he's batting 253 this year, what did you think the magician came and saw him? Like, I would have to literally look at my process. I would.
Well, I hope they are.
And they are. You saw it in the draft this year.
Yeah, well, they pivoted big time in the draft.
And they went
They're
back
going big and strong now.
They went back to guys who hit the ball out of the park. There's some swing and miss involved in that.
Sure.
But you're never – the history backs it up. The numbers prove it. You're not going to win a World Series if you don't hit the ball out of the park. I will take some swing and miss, particularly in today's game. I will take some swing and miss if it brings with it the threat of power. And their first-round pick, Jay Lavalette, not going to play this year, he's hurt, but comes with great power. And there was other guys involved in that too. So where guys who can hit the ball out of the ballpark and score 2 or 3 runs in with one swing of the bat. That's what this team has missed for years. They went with this shortstop approach of loading up on middle infield guys.
Well, number 1 overall
guys.
pick, we took a second baseman.
And I honestly, I wonder.
Wait a minute, what?
I wonder how much of that traces back to the Jimenez contract and knowing if we take Bizana, we can get off the Himi money. They can get off the Jimenez contract. Because right after they took him, months after they took him, is when they traded Andres Jimenez.
Yeah.
And I'm not, like, nobody here was screaming Nick Kurtz. Nobody was.
No, he was in the conversation, to be fair.
But
nobody was yelling, he's got to be the guy.
Nobody thought he was.
Can you imagine, though?
I know.
This is a guy that is a life changer.
Yeah.
Throw him in the lineup with Hosey. Oh, my God.
I mean, if anything, Jack Caglione was supposed to be the first baseman that we were supposed to take.
Right. He would have been the guy that we would have probably, if not Bizana.
The 3 guys we talked the most about were Bizana,
Condon,
yes,
and Caglione.
Yes.
Nick Kurtz was not. I mean, I
he was
he
4 and 5 on most people's charts.
He was in there, but he was never one of the guys that
he wasn't even that high, honestly. J.J. Weatherholt was in there.
Where was he eventually taken? He was taken 4th, wasn't
Third,
he?
yeah, 4th, 3rd or 4th.
Yeah,
I remember
so
that.
I mean,
but again,
and I saw his
drafts,
name up there. He was up there for a lot of folks. Not one. He wasn't really in the conversation for one.
Right.
But you know what? For all the flack that the A's have gotten, they got that right.
The A's have a lineup. I've said
their
it before.
lineup's unbelievable.
They got a lineup of gorilla juicers who can hit it 500 feet.
It reminds me of the late '80s teams.
Yeah,
where they just took guys that were mashers.
And I mean, they're playing in a little league park this year, which helps.
They are.
But
his numbers are. For anyone who doesn't know, can I give you guys Nick Kurtz's numbers real quick?
Well, guys, he's been in the league for not even 3 months.
It's
and
absurd.
There's an argument that he had the greatest single game in the history of Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Go figure.
This season, he has played in 70 games. So as a team, they've played 106. He's played in 70. So he missed the first month. Gee, this is going to make your knees buckle. I'm sorry in advance. You ready? Mm-hmm. He's hitting .302. He has 23 homers. He has 59 RBIs. And he has an OPS of 1.039.
That's impressive.
It's unbelievable.
No,
it's unbelievable.
He's for a season. That's a pace to get over 50 home runs.
That would lead the Guardians in all 3 categories.
Bro,
all 4 categories.
Yeah. So he got Jose Ramirez numbers, and by far
better.
See, this is my problem. I can't do it. No. Like, so you telling the A's is smarter than you?
They got that. Well, look, he fell to them too. No one else took him. I think he was 4th.
Baseball drafts are weird.
They are
because
very
of signability,
weird.
and you take guys who you can sign for less to save more money.
100% true.
It's so weird. But the A's do a nice job. I mean, like, the A's hit on their picks. Tyler Soderstrom was like a 19th overall, 20th overall pick, and he's got 19 home runs in left field. They picked Brent Rooker off the scrap heap. He's got 20-some home runs, one of the best sluggers in baseball.
23.
Shea Langoliers, first-round pick catcher, hit. Jacob Wilson, first-round pick, hit. They hit on all of their offensive first. Now they have no pitching whatsoever, and they just traded their closer, Mason Miller. And their defense is suspect, but they've got guys who can absolutely mash up and down the line.
And we have first-round picks that I can't name one of them That's cooking. Not one.
Go back at what was the stat we gave? I think in the last 15 years, their total first and second round picks, which would be 30 unless they had years where they had 2 second rounds or whatever, but rare.
Well, they got compensatory picks in between. And all
Yeah.
that,
So I don't know how many picks that is, but they've appeared in 0 All-Star games.
Jeez.
The last 15 years. And so you want to look at analytics, that's an analytic.
I mean, Manny Ramirez was a first-round pick that they developed.
Yeah, man, shout out to Manny. Hey,
Kenny Lofton did an event last night. This is another story I'll bring up later, but we were talking about the 95 team.
Yeah.
And somebody that was in attendance had a shirt with the lineup. You forget.
No,
forget
no, we
Ramirez
don't.
was in the 7.
No, we don't.
You forget that Sandy Alomar was the 9 hitter.
What you mean?
Yeah, Paul Sorrento, I think, hit 8, and he hit
He was.
25
Sorrento
homers.
was 8, and Kenny and I were literally. I said, Kenny, I don't know that wasn't the greatest offensive, most prolific offensive lineup in the modern day baseball era. And he goes, it was.
Yeah.
Like, you give me an argument. Yeah. Show me another one.
You know what's funny is today.
And they didn't win.
Today, that lineup today
would cost $500 million.
Well, no, but I'm thinking like Manny Ramirez might lead off.
Well, yeah, the way
Bell
we look at
might
the game,
hit
I see what you're
second.
saying. The way analytics has changed how we look at
Lofton
things.
would hit 9th.
Maybe.
Vizquel would hit 8th.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
no, you're absolutely right. Because
Baerga might
the
hit
thought
cleanup.
process that was used to build that lineup is gone.
It was Lofton, Vizquel, Baerga, Bell. Murray was 5th.
Yep.
And then like Manny 6th, Tomey 7th.
No, Manny was 7th. Sorrento was 8th. Alomar was 9th.
Well, then who was 6th?
Baerga.
No, Baerga was always 3. He was 3rd.
Okay, wait a minute.
Who was
who are we
Baerga was
missing
3rd. Bell was 4. Eddie Murray was 5. Manny and Tomey had to be 6 and 7.
Tomey
had
was
to be.
6. Manny was 7.
And then
at least on the shirt, and I think that was
then
the way most of their
Sorrento
everyday.
was 8, and Alomar Alomar was.
I
9.
remember listening to an interview with Mike Hargrove once when he was talking about his lineup and the challenges that talent left the manager.
It ain't that big of a challenge.
No. Here's what he said. He's like, there are some days I think I could take all 9 names, throw them in a hat, and put them on a board.
It doesn't matter.
And I'm going to win.
Yeah.
But the challenge that it presents, now great, everybody would love to have that challenge.
Yeah.
But the challenge it presented was trying to figure out who before who, like who do I want? He had Ramirez as a second cleanup hitter.
Yeah.
Your catcher.
So you could almost
Your catcher was an all-star. You had
All-Star Game MVP.
You had supreme God MCs at shortstop and center field. What are you talking about?
I know.
Like, you couldn't hit the
Then
ball
you
nowhere.
had veteran pitchers like Oral Hershiser and Dennis Martinez, and you had young arms like Chuck
unbelievable.
Nagy.
The
I can't believe they didn't win.
The
I
best
can't believe.
the best uniforms, the best stadium, the
best fans.
50,000 every single game.
Albert Bell will tell you they didn't win because in the World Series the umpires were giving the Braves a ball and a half off the plate.
Well,
They
he's not
were.
wrong.
He wasn't
He's not
lying.
wrong. Kenny said yesterday.
They wasn't lying.
When he was talking about the 95 season, he said, look, we didn't win. And I know this sounds like sour grapes, and every runner-up can say this, but not like we can. We should have won.
Yeah.
Literally, the structure of the game was changed to give pitchers that had a lot of cachet, wider strike zones. Can you imagine if that series, and somebody's going to do this, somebody's going to take that series and they're going to run it through the actual
strike zone
of today.
Yeah.
You will find, somebody told me this and I never did it, but somebody said 30% of the pitches that were called strikes were out of the strike zone.
Maddox's strike zone is this.
And Maddox was the guy over everybody else, and Glavine did this too. They all did at that point. If I don't have to throw the ball there, I am not going to throw the ball there.
Right.
Period. Full stop.
Yeah.
And those guys had such good pinpoint control. They put it where they wanted every single time. And as long as that pitch was called a strike, he refused to come over the plate.
You know what's funny? Because a lot of people probably weren't even born that are watching this one. But last thing that we can move on from the good old days. I remember after that season, they signed Jack McDowell. Now think about
for
this.
a minute.
Mm-hmm. But think about he was the premier free agent.
Blackjack, yeah.
Blackjack McDowell.
for
He
the
came
White
to
Sox.
Cleveland, and I remember the lead to the story I read. It might have been AP. The Cleveland Indians, the rich get richer. Now imagine that today.
30 years later.
30 years later.
30 years
Someone
later.
was saying the Cleveland Indians, the rich got richer because they signed the marquee free agent on the market.
And at the time,
pitcher.
that headline was true.
He was the top free agent pitcher, and he chose Cleveland, and the lead was the rich get richer. And now here we are 30 years later and can't sign the best players to any type of extension.
Can't keep our own best
To
players.
Minimoski.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy how that works.
it's rough being the fan of a low-budget, smaller market baseball team. It is really difficult.
There's a piece to be written on what the Twins and what the Guardians have done this year.
I agree with you. That what the Twins did yesterday, Jay, was
We're
mind-blowing.
gonna get to it.
It's
We're gonna get
despicable.
Because they
to
are
I know.
not a smaller market. They don't spend like a smaller market team.
It's despicable what Pohlad has done to that franchise.
Save your thoughts. We're going to get to that in about 20 minutes. But first, we got to talk a little football. And before we do that, we got to fuel up. Turn up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. And let's be honest, some days on the course and even off it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. Golf is all about the good times with good people and good flavors, of course. The grape, ginger, lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the beverage cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that is the number 5, hourenergy.com. You can use promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. The offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion-flavored 5-Hour Energy shots today. Jason, late in yesterday's show, you mentioned some of Jimmy Haslam's comments about Shedeur Sanders and how you felt like it was being twisted into a story that it never was intended to be. And after you said that, I got flooded on Twitter with questions of what exactly did Jimmy say, what is being twisted. So I did some research and I found that you were very right. People were taking some of these comments, in my opinion, way out of context, saying that the Browns may have drafted Shedeur to try and intentionally tank his career based off what Jimmy said.
So stupid.
So what we're going to do is
that right there might be the dumbest thing I've heard in 5 years.
So what we're going to do is play
That's a high
the
bar.
entire
You aren't kidding.
clip from Jimmy Haslam's press conference. Question, answer, question, answer. It was the only part that was related to Shedeur Sanders. I have put the question on the video so you can see word for word what the question is because the reporters aren't mic'd up.
Right.
You can hear Jimmy fine, but this is a minute part of Jimmy Haslam's press conference from earlier this week on Shedeur Sanders and the Browns' thought process in terms of drafting him. And then I'm very curious to see how you guys took what Jimmy Haslam said and whether or not it aligns with some of these conspiracy theories. This is Jimmy Haslam from earlier this week.
We haven't talked to you since the draft. So can you explain why the Browns felt the need to draft Shedeur after drafting a quarterback in the 3rd round and adding 2 guys?
Well, I think that's really more of an Andrew question, okay? But I think, what was that pick, 146? We thought he was good value at 146.
Jimmy, there's been kind of like a national narrative that you were the person who forced the Shedeur pick, or maybe people have called it the owner pick. Well, what would you say to that?
Yeah, listen, we have good process, okay? And if you'd have told me, let's see, we picked him on Saturday, right? Friday night driving home, y'all are going to pick Shedeur, I would say that's not happening. But we had a conversation early that morning, and then we had a conversation later that day. I think we had the right people involved in the conversation. At the end of the day, that's Andrew Berry's call. Andrew made the call to pick Shedeur. Just like who's going to start or what play we're going to call is Kevin's call. But that's Andrew's call. He made the call.
Jason, dissect that, then I'm very curious to what G has to say on these comments.
I don't know how you can take that as they didn't want him and they're trying to ruin his career.
I don't either.
Like, what kind of long jump Carl Lewis leap are we making here? They traded up to wreck his career. That's how diabolical the Browns are. They traded up so that they could say, screw the Sanders family. We're going to
show him.
We're going to run a ball into the ground. What he's very clearly saying for anybody with a lick of common sense is when they left the building Friday night, They didn't think he was going to be there in the 5th round. They had already had their quarterback. Of course they weren't still going to consider taking another quarterback when he kept falling and kept falling and kept falling on Saturday, regardless of whose decision it was to move up to get him. As an organization, they made the decision to move up to get him, not because they're trying to tank this poor kid's career, because they have a job open at quarterback. And they thought, you know what? Let's give him a shot. We never thought he'd be here. The value's right. Let's take him and see. Where else is Shedeur Sanders going to go that has an opportunity to win a starting job this year? Where? Tell me. New Orleans? Yeah, okay, I'll listen to that. Maybe New Orleans. Where else is he going to go where he has a better opportunity to win a starting job than Cleveland? So for all of the fragile people who have lost their minds on this and thinking that the Browns are screwing them, they're not. This team has needed a quarterback for 25 years. Why on earth would they try and railroad someone who might be able to help them? He's here. It's early in camp. They're giving him opportunities, so let it play out. He's going to get a ton of snaps in this preseason, and let's see what he can do. But the idea that they're trying to sabotage him is so stupid that I just can't even, I'm just done. I can't even wrap my head around it. And to try and to manipulate what he said into some idea that he didn't want, or that they didn't want him, like, I just don't understand how you can make that. I would love someone to logically explain it to me, because it just doesn't make any sense at all.
G?
Oh, this is a great one. So let me see if I can break this down. So when you look at that comment with Jimmy Haslam is saying, what Jimmy Haslam is saying is, obviously the owner cannot come out and say, you know what, I just woke up and decided I wanted Shedeur Sanders. That's not the way it works, because at the end of the day, that means that's undermining your general manager. And you see, the first thing he said in that clip, if you listen to it, is we have a good process. He knows that if he was to do that, a lot of people around the NFL and people in the media would say, that's not the way it works. The owner shouldn't just jump in and just pick people and just, tank the entire draft strategy. Think about it. It's like putting together a whole year process, right? These people have scouts. They have people, regional scouts, major scouts. They got the front office. They got the analytics. You got the head coach and the coaching staff. These guys have put this plan together for a whole entire year to draft said players. Now, if the narrative is Jimmy Haslam can come in at the very last moment at 12 midnight and be like, you know what? Get rid of all this. We're not doing that. People will frown upon that. Given the fact that his process and him being a person that has been a little bit knee-jerk, he's second to me. I'm the first knee-jerk reaction. So that's not it's not a knock against him. Here's the thing. This is why I say this season is going to be very poignant and it's going to be very interesting. Because there is not going to be, like I always tell people, don't fret. There isn't going to be a way that if Shedeur Sanders is actually playing good football, that they can keep him on the sideline and not give him opportunity to play. Because people will be loud and very loud about the fact that they want to see him play. That is very evident. For the Cleveland Browns, I think that when you say, they want to, they want to sabotage him. Here's the thing about sports in general. When you're playing and you get to a position during the season and you can say, all right, we're trying, if there's any inappropriate behavior where it looks like you're not trying to win, that don't work during the season. And to be honest with you, the Cleveland Browns, I don't believe can afford to go out and be 2-something and play veterans and not give rookies an opportunity, because it'll get loud and it's going to get nasty because people are going to want to see it. So in that case, no, the Cleveland Browns and Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry, the best thing in the world for them to do is want to see Shedeur Sanders ball out. The best thing, and by the way, if he does play well, they're going to be able to take a great victory lap and be able to sign their deal away for life. Come on, the first thing they're going to say is, look, we took him in the 5th round. Nobody else took him in the 5th round. We took him here, and guess what? We developed him too. And now look how think how smart you look if you have the Deshaun Watson deal, you get him for a discount, you develop him, he's a 5th round pick, and now all of a sudden you could do the victory laps.
Oh, you get carried around on the shoulders of the city like San Francisco for Brock Purdy, New England.
If he gets it right.
Of course.
So yes. No, they don't want him to take no L. I believe it's just the simple fact that people get antsy because they want to see him play. And when you get antsy and when you be in your feelings, you tend to get in your feelings a little bit, right? And you're like, I don't want to hear nothing the owner got to say. I feel like they railroading him, right? But always be patient. Time will come. As Jason says, he will get an opportunity to play and a lot, right?
This preseason, yeah.
Yes, he will.
He's going to get a chance. And guess what?
We're going to find out.
That's the best part about it.
We're going to find
You
out.
can't hide, Jay.
Nope.
Nobody can
Now,
hide.
you could have success in the preseason that does not translate to the regular season.
Absolutely.
We've
We
seen
see
it
it
a
every
million
year.
times.
We see it every year.
But here's what you can't do. Bomb in the preseason and have success in the regular season. That rarely, if ever, happens. So, cart before horse. And all of what you guys said, I agree with everything. There's one piece that I feel you've left out. I'll hit on that in a second. But this notion that, the Browns, that's it. They're railroading them. My God. Put your social media thumbs away and go get a life. You are outthinking this. You're trying to find conspiracy theories where there are none. Why in the world would the Browns take this kid to ruin his career? I would really like to sit down with someone who really believes that and say, okay, sell me that bill of goods. Sell me how it benefits the Browns to trade up and take a kid for the sole purpose of wrecking his career.
And for all the people that don't want him here, where would you like him to go?
Right.
Where else is he going to have this opportunity?
This is the place for him.
What other job is open?
Exactly. And now the other thing too is this argument can be made down the road. If he flames out, you could then say, well, look what he had around him. He had no talent around him. How was he supposed to? Fair point.
Great quarterbacks elevate the players around them.
They absolutely do. And G, I agreed with much of what you said, except for there's one problem that I think a lot of folks are overlooking about the noise part. Well, if the other guys aren't playing well, there's going to be a lot of noise and he's going to get his chance. The problem here with a lot of this mindset is that he was the 5th round pick. And there happens to be a guy on the roster who they valued much more who was a 3rd round pick.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
From the standpoint of doing victory laps if he hits, absolutely. However, if that happens, you're now answering the question, well, why did you take Dylan Gabriel and waste a pick in the 3rd round? So don't break your arm patting yourself on the back if this kid hits, because you wasted, if it plays out where Dylan can't play and Shedeur can.
It won't matter. People will be so euphoric.
I know they will,
it won't
matter. But in the grand scheme of things, the 3rd round pick is still going to go down as another one we gave away. We give away a lot of 3rd round picks.
We said for months. G said this for months, and I agreed with him. Take 2. Take 2.
Hey.
If you take 2, one of them's not going to work. So if you take 2 and one works, that's good enough.
The only thing,
the order doesn't matter.
I agree with that. Now, if it's job application and you got 2 guys in or you got 7 guys in, you're going to get the best applicant with 7.
So what happens if, say, Shedeur wins the job and Dylan Gabriel becomes a backup?
Great.
Is that a problem?
No.
Well, there you go. So it don't matter what order you took him.
Here's why it's not a problem. As long as we get a quarterback. See, I think what's already developing here, and this is bad, guys, I'm just going to say it. This is bad. I've talked before about our divisive fan base.
Oh, no. There's no way. It's baked in. It's baked in.
And you know what? I'm finding that it is a problem. It will continue to be a problem.
What do you mean?
So, Jay, I've been asked a million times, who do you want to be this? So, and we're going to talk about this. Who should be? Who will be? Who do you want to be? The answer to who you want to be is a very simple one. The best guy.
Yeah.
Who's going to give us the best chance to win? That's who I want as our quarterback. And if that person is 4'2", 300 pounds, but somehow when they put him out there, despite the fact that he shouldn't be able to move the team, He moves the team. That's my favorite quarterback.
I'm definitely doing a story on him.
That's my guy.
If there's a 4'2", 300-pounder,
he's going to be
front page of the New York Times.
Can you imagine the side of that?
This is why I have always said on every single platform, people are like, G. Bush, you go crazy for Shedeur. I say, listen, if you listen, I got hours of film. I said, listen, man, the first thing you got to understand about me is I'm just married to what happens. If I go, listen, I thought Deshaun Watson was going to be good, right? And then I went and looked at the film and said, oh, you missed that guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. No, bro, you're not balling today. So if Dylan Gabriel, I went to camp and say, I told Jason, I said, man, he got a little better arm than I thought he did. Before Kenny Pickett, right? If Kenny Pickett balls out and he hurt his hamstring, I said Kenny Pickett had a nice day today. I felt he was rolling out, using his legs more than often.
Right.
Now listen, I'm just married to what happens on the field. Now, here's the point I think a lot of people get misconstrued. When people are reporting this, a lot of people have got to the point where, and this doesn't have anything to do with specifically you or anybody, but there's this level of people will say, well, they're diminishing what happens on the field, and they're saying, well, you know, this guy looked good, and sure, he was fine, whatever, he was over on the other field. What you're saying is the backlash from that. If people just said this, right, and there's a lot of people that are unwilling to say this. Hey, look, man, you know what? I wasn't that high on Shedeur. I thought it was more hype, but I'll give him credit. You know, after, you know, the ticket thing, he's been really great in the media. He's been saying all the right things. I think he's picking the offense up. You know, right now, I don't know if he's going to start. But I'm willing to see more of him. And look, he's getting some first team reps, and we'll evaluate as we go. Like, hey, the Browns need a quarterback, so we'll see what he can do. I wasn't really high on him coming out of college, but hey, listen, it's a competition. If people said that, nobody would have a problem with it.
Well, that's what everybody should say, though, G. And not just a quarterback. Let's talk about center.
Yeah, that's
okay. And let's see. Here's the problem: we start assigning names and attributes to these guys, and the whole thing gets muddied. Give me the best player at all 22 positions.
But that's not what's being asked. Everyone wants to ask you, who had the better day? Who was better,
and Jay,
Dylan or Shedeur?
Isn't that ridiculous, too?
But so now I got to put a name on it. And if I don't give the right name, I just pissed off whoever's camp. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
So, Jay, I hear what you're saying, and I've kind of said that. I was talking to somebody with the Browns. They're like, well, where are you on this? I'm like, I'm neutral. I want to see him play.
Get the best guy.
I just want to see who plays.
That's your job, by the way, not our job.
Yeah.
When people ask me, listen, we cover the team. We don't guide the team. Those that guide the team make a lot more money because that skill set is much harder to come by. It's supply and demand. You guys have the football knowledge. You see every snap. You're in every meeting. You get the right guy. And that's my guy.
But that goes back to what Mike said. Mike had a topic last week, the week before, of like, what are you looking for in camp? Like, listen, if I knew what I was doing, I wouldn't be a sports writer.
No, you'd be a coach.
I would be a GM. So my job is to talk to people in the NFL, talk to people in the organization, and relay to you what I'm hearing.
Exactly.
I'm not going to sit down and break. Well, look, I don't know if he's supposed to throw it to the seam route.
No.
I don't know where he's supposed to go.
Jay,
with
bottom
it.
line, none of us do.
So I'm not going to sit
Jim
here
Mora
and
knew what he was
evaluate that.
saying when he said the media thinks they know, but they don't.
But I try not to do. So I tell you, I thought he threw it fine. I thought he had a good day. He was fine.
Right.
He got him in and out of the plays. It seemed like he knew what he was doing. Had command of the huddle. That's what I'm looking at. And obviously, don't throw interceptions. Can we agree on that?
Yeah.
When you throw picks, that's bad. No matter what the play was supposed
Touchdown's
to be,
good,
it wasn't
picks
supposed
bad.
to be going the other way.
Right. And we know that.
More than anything, Jay, at heart, I'm just a old, MAC football washed up guy who likes to watch the game.
Sure.
That's it. So for me, and I always tell people, you can't get mad at I can't get mad at Anthony because he likes a certain anime more than my favorite anime.
Nope.
Like that's just on his
or a favorite food or a favorite movie or whatever.
That's his thing.
Personal taste.
So if people are writers and journalists, like Jason said, they're doing other things. For me, I want to go watch. I want to see what he's doing. I want to look at your mechanics. I want to do all this. I just like being on the field. But the greatest thing about this is you're going to get a chance to see. Always tell people, you listen, in life, I truly believe this. Like, not just saying I'm preaching. I believe that wherever you're supposed to be, God will put you there. And it might not be here or it might be there. And I've even come, as I've grown, to say I look at it as a business. Hey, even if Shedeur if it don't work out for him here, maybe it ain't for him to be. It could be somewhere else.
Maybe it will be, and that happens with a lot of guys. It wasn't right for Baker.
It wasn't right, and so I can't get mad at Baker because what he learned here put him in a trajectory to do what he's doing now.
Exactly.
So
look how many guys. Look at last year, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold got in another system and suddenly looked like a butterfly and not a worm.
How many systems was he in before that?
Right.
4? I
Well,
don't know.
3 that I can think of.
A lot of
He was with the Jets. He was with the Panthers. And was there a stop between the Panthers and the Vikings?
Yeah. I don't remember what it was.
And do we agree? Do we agree about this? There's one thing that is undeniable. Maybe the way I think about it. The way I think about franchise quarterbacks is when they do certain things, whether you're a detractor or whether you're a hater or you just don't think, it's undeniable.
You know it when you see it.
You can't even hate it.
Yep.
Like if you can say I don't like Lamar Jackson, but there's 7 times a game you're like, damn,
He did it again.
damn.
And
Joe
it was
Burrow,
the same
damn.
thing. Like I always bring this up because he was a bit of a dichotomy here in that when Baker came into the Jets game and we all saw it, we're like, that's it.
That's it.
That's it. That's what I've been looking for.
Me, Bull, you,
Everybody.
Dustin,
Gee,
everybody.
It was we got our guy.
It was
We finally got it
undeniable.
right. And then all of a sudden, like this, we're like, wait, that's not it.
It was the Jets game when the beer coolers opened and everything else. I've told the story
were
before.
done.
Jim
We had our
Brown,
guy.
when they did the press conference, I was in the locker room and no one else was really in there yet. And Jim Brown came clickety-clacking across the locker room with his cane. And it was just the sound of the cane. And he came up to me and he goes, we got our guy.
Man.
Like, Jim Brown.
That was it. And
Coronated.
I'll say this, and I'm not saying it's going to happen in the preseason because I don't think it will. But if Dylan or Shedeur are our guys, they're going to get chances this year.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's not going to be on the first throw or the first series or the first quarter, but it might well be in that first game. There's going to be enough there for either guy for us to say, that ain't it, or, oh, that could be it. That might be it.
And Jay, remember, just really quickly here, let me just give y'all how the temperature is. Remember when Hugh Jackson said that Baker Mayfield had earned the backup job?
Yes.
You remember how hot people was?
Well, because he was the number 1 overall pick.
I was like, what do you mean he earned the back? Like, I was going crazy like this, like just like now that I was going back then, because I'm like, bro, you got Tyrod Taylor. No disrespect to Tyrod or Tyrod or wherever he is. We not trying to see that. And guess what? Lo and behold, Tyrod Taylor goes down.
Yeah.
And Baker Mayfield comes on.
And we saw it.
And the first rope he threw was a back shoulder seam route to Jarvis Landry, and I said, I ain't seen no throw like that in 5 to 7
No,
years.
That's right. We know it when we see it.
I said, what is this? Yeah, it's a wrap. Yeah.
You know what else makes young quarterbacks look good? Good weapons, and we're going to talk about one here after a quick word from FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer. FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action, so why not make it a little more thrilling with FanDuel? If you're new to FanDuel, we have a special offer just for you right now. New customers can bet $5 and win $150 in bonus bets if their first $5 bet wins. Open up the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to get started. Yesterday, we got news that Washington receiver Terry McLaurin has officially requested a trade. He's in a contract dispute with the Washington football team, and it's not going great. He wants $33 million, the highest paid wide receiver, 2 numbers in the game. Washington saying, you're about to turn 30 next month. We don't feel comfortable going with that much money. So he said, all right, trade me. We'll see if he actually gets traded. But G. Bush, if you were Andrew Berry, would you be calling the Washington Commanders trying to add Terry McLaurin to this roster?
This is why McNuggets is funny, man. You're just a funny guy. You already know I'm the general of Project Stockpile, but let me just tell you something. I don't even know we got no bread. The way our checking and savings is set up right now.
Can you take an IOU?
33. Like that's
See, we've got the bread. We're just not allowed to spend the bread.
can't spend.
Can you put a third mortgage on the second mortgage?
Yeah, I don't know, man. That vacation house is looking slim fit. I mean, here's just what I know. 2 years ago, G. Bush I would have had a PowerPoint presentation ready for you why Terry McLaurin makes the Cleveland Browns a Pro Bowl and a Super Bowl candidate team. And guess what? Here's the problem. The Cleveland Browns is not trying to win this year. They've told you 1,000 times. And I'm just trying to get them, listen, one thing at a time. I'm just trying to get them to play Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel. Let me work on that front first. You want me to go to them and tell them to get a receiver now, and receivers ain't even a thing? And he's 30?
Receivers aren't our thing.
They ain't anything. Like, that's like me going like, man, you always never let your wife go to the grocery store by herself. You never going to get the snacks you want. She gonna taper you down. What are you talking about? You gonna give Terry McLaurin $33 billion? They didn't give. Who have they given any money to? They didn't give Mari Cooper no $30-something million. They didn't give Baker Mayfield no extension, and he's a quarterback. They didn't give Nick Chubb no bag. The only person they gave was the hush money to Myles Garrett.
Hush money.
The hush money payments to Myles Garrett.
Get in here and shut up.
Be cool. And I'm going to write this PowerPoint to tell you we going to the Super Bowl. But I would love to have Terry McLaurin, but I mean, I don't even know who my quarterback going to be.
Yeah, what's the point?
Like-
I mean, what's the point?
By the way-
it'd be like if this Guardians outfit went out and said, we got to add Aaron Judge to this thing. That's what we need.
That's funny.
Bro, it's like a car.
Yeah.
And the biggest piece can be the engine. But if you got bad tires and you got a bad chassis,
When I was
Muffler
it's
loud.
not the point.
When I was a kid, when I first started driving, you'd have these rust buckets, right? With $1,000 stereo system.
I remember those. Hey, we had some in our high school that would pull into the parking lot. And I'm like, the stereo is 18 times more value than the car.
Hey, man, I think
Car smoking, dust falling off of it.
I had a
That
Ford,
bass,
but
the
you hear
bass
him-
thumping.
I had a Ford Taurus show in '94. That boy was tinted out. I couldn't see at night, and it was blowing white smoke. You know what that means? Your engine
is done.
Like, but I was
Burning that oil. Yep. That's exactly it. If we add Terry McLaurin, we're the 94 Ford Tempo.
My first car was a 1983 Plymouth Horizon, and I tinted the windows myself.
Bro,
with like this.
I had a 1983 Plymouth Horizon two-tone gray.
Yeah, mine was blue.
That's the car that got me through college.
Mine was sky blue. That was my first car.
Oh
couldn't
my
tell-
God! You would shut the door, you held your breath, and something wouldn't fall off. It was the cheapest, shittiest car I've ever had.
Yep.
Man, I got pulled over so many times. The
83
K9
Yep.
dogs was all by. I got tired of seeing Ren 1010 by my car. And I told my dad, said, "Bro, you doing way too much. I pull you over too. If you don't want to get pulled over, you got loud beats. Your car is spray painted black on the windows." And you got 3 rims in 1 hubcap. You look like the starter kit for a drug dealer. I pull you over too. Get up out of here.
Well, that's the shit. That's the car we're describing is the Browns.
Yeah.
And the stereo we're describing is Terry McLaurin.
And by the way, the Browns just went through this with Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Same age, same everything.
Right.
And they told him, no, we're not giving you the
we're good.
extension.
And
So why would you do
and
this
he
now?
a possession receiver that's going to work underneath.
And you had a quarterback that you thought was a franchise guy, and you still didn't pay.
I'm with you. A couple of years ago, I would have loved to have.
Oh,
Terry McLaurin.
yeah.
When we had a chance.
Before they stopped the press conference and we going over the, hey, Jimmy, tell us about the 2025 Browns. Listen, I think we got a process, but let me tell you about this stadium I got going though.
Yeah, right.
I said, he just segued that quick? Yeah, let me tell you about the process.
And he mentioned at one point in his news conference 3 years, and I'm like, man, he really is. He's got a calendar at home that says new stadium plan. And everything he's doing is based on us having a decent team when we move into the Dome Stadium.
I said that, yep.
It's true. You're right.
So I'll put a button on the 83 Plymouth Horizon. When I was 17, 18, I was leaving my grandparents' house. And I didn't have my contacts in. I was driving without my contacts in.
Uh-oh.
And I pulled out in front of a dump truck. The dump truck hits my 83. True story. sideswipes my 83 Plymouth Horizon, knocks the bumper off. My dad wants to strangle me. My mom's like, I can't believe you drive without the contacts in. What's the matter with you? So we went to the junkyard and fixed the bumper at the junkyard. That's the Browns right now.
Bro.
They just got sideswiped.
By the
The
truck.
bumper's busted. You don't go get
Right.
Terry McLaurin to fix the bumper.
Bro,
You go
what
to the
kind of
junkyard.
blind are you that you need contacts to see a dump truck coming? Oh my
It's a fair
God.
question. Fair question.
We know how I drive. Like, this is not a surprise.
What I don't know is how blind you truly are without contacts and
hey.
glasses.
I'll bring my glasses in one day and let you see.
Are they the
So-
kind you can fry an ant with the sun?
Oh, yeah.
Like, the big pop
I
model
have
ones?
horrible astigmatism.
So
Wow.
we are all in agreement the Terry McLaurin thing probably not going to happen. But Denzel Ward did tweet about it. It was worth mentioning. Let's get to our next
What did
topic.
Denzel tweet, by the way?
Bring back my Buckeye brother.
Yeah, that's what I would have
Hey,
said.
so-
That's why
hey,
these guys play and they're not GMs.
Hey Denzel, you want to donate 10 million of your salary to go? Nah, I'm cool.
Oh, I like Terry. I don't love Terry.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on to our next topic here. It's brought to us by Monarch Money. Have you ever checked your bank account and wondered, where's all my money? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it is easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center where you can track all of your accounts, investments, and spendings in one place so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use promo code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for half off your first year. That is monarchmoney.com, promo code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. If things go well for Greg Newsome this year, he may need to use Monarch Money to manage his finances because G. Bush, he's moving to the outside cornerback position with the absence of MJ Emerson. He's entering the final year of his deal. Do you see any scenario where Greg Newsome can play his way into a new long-term contract with the Browns now that he's shifting back to the outside cornerback spot, his more natural cornerback spot, and a position that he has wanted to play for the last 2 seasons?
As I said before, the Lord works in mysterious ways, and all of a sudden, Greg Newsome, if you've listened to his press conferences, he says, I want to be a Cleveland Brown for life, for life. It sounds like an NWO remix. Listen, I'm going to tell you what. You get an opportunity. He's back playing the position that he started when he was a rookie. Martin Emerson is going to be out for a sustained period of time. Also, when you're talking about Achilles heel injuries, this ain't a defensive lineman or offensive lineman. This is a cornerback that is changing directions. And for a cornerback that never ran a 4.4, he was never a 4.4 guy. He was never a quick, twitchy guy. Martin Emerson had serviceable speed. Where he made his money was being physical and length and being able to kind of play more of a boundary type cornerback, right? So his length was a switch up to Denzel Ward's quick twitchiness and speed. So it's going to take a little bit of time to come back from that, and then they have to see what it is that he comes back as, because he is a free agent. So now, if you're Greg Newsome, if you can put some good stuff on tape, if you can come out here and you're going to have an opportunity to show what you can do, and if you can stay healthy, now all of a sudden you're back at a premium position where the going rate for his position at cornerback, not nickel, is up here. Now the problem is this. If you're the Cleveland Browns, you'd be willing to pay generational money for 1 year production at that outside corner position, which is a tough decision. But given the fact that Martin Emerson is going to be, you don't know what he comes back as, and you are the Cleveland Browns and you are going to need to lean on your defense to get it done, it's going to be a tough decision because you're already paying one corner, top corner money. You're already paying Myles Garrett top money. So, there's a limit to how many defensive guys you're going to have moving around and giving them, especially if he's a premier corner. I think it's a chance. All depends on how he plays. But it's very interesting, Jason. I don't know what their philosophy is going to be on this.
I mean, I'm not going to put a cap on what a guy can or can't do, right?
Yeah,
Let him go out there and show it. Do I have high expectations that he's going to ball out? No. He had the job and lost it to a third-round rookie, and now he's been where he's been. And what's the one thing that we say about Greg Newsome? Interceptions ain't his thing.
Yeah.
So you want to get paid, they better be your thing. And by the way,
minimum 4 or 5.
he's going to have a lot of opportunities because they ain't throwing to 21.
No, he's going to have a ton of
They're
opportunities.
going to him. They're going to go right
Yeah.
at agent 0 time and time again.
Yeah.
And if he comes away with 5, 6, 7 interceptions at the end of the season, all right, let's have that conversation. But to this point, what has he done to makes you think that that's going to happen? Like, pass breakups are great as a corner. It's a lot better than the other alternative.
Yeah.
Sure.
But give me the ball.
Yeah,
give me the ball and go the other way with it.
Especially
And
with
that's how
young
you get paid.
quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Especially with a team that's deficient.
I thought this was a perfect case of careful what you wish for. He went on record saying he wanted to be traded. He looked at himself as an outside guy, didn't want to be the nickel guy, wanted to get paid. They basically said, well, you had that chance here, and you lost that opportunity. And he kind of felt, maybe rightly so, that to get that opportunity, I'm going to have to go somewhere else. I'm going to have to go to some other team to prove that I can do it. And now he's got the chance to do it here. But, Jason, you're right. The interesting thing about doing it here is you're going to be the bullseye on the target of every offensive coordinator that comes in here.
Yep.
You always decide where is the defense weak, and that's where you attack. Well, you're not going at 21. You're just not. And you're going to have to prove, if you're Greg Newsome, that you can stand up to that kind of pressure. If he does, and I'm with you, my expectations are for him, he'll be middle of the road. He's going to have days where he looks great. He's going to have other days where he doesn't.
Yep.
That's not probably going to cut it to get to what he wants. I don't have high expectations for him. I have high hopes that he can do it because I'd love to see him step up and be that guy. But, man, it's going to be a long, hard road for him this year.
Yeah.
Because look at the quarterbacks that he sees. Look at the quarterbacks in this division that he's going to have to face. And I know Aaron Rodgers is 41, but is there a division that will have 3 quarterbacks?
I mean, you have 2 MVP candidates in the division.
In the division, and then you have a former MVP.
Can we see that schedule right quick? Because he got some. I need him to be on his homework. Listen. I want you to understand
Yeah,
something.
they got some good receivers out the bat here.
I want you to understand
And quarterbacks.
something. My man Greg Newsome. It can get real ugly quick. It
Look at
can
that.
get nasty. And
Well, let's go through the twos real quick, G. That's T. Higgins. Mm-hmm. And obviously the Browns don't shadow, so he's going to go against Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
As well.
Yes, he will.
Yeah.
But you got T. Higgins in week 1.
hold on. So, what you mean? I'm of the belief that they might that shadowing might be like.
Well, they haven't to this point.
No, but if you were ever going to, this would be the time to do it.
Jim Schwartz has always,
I
since
know.
he's been here,
He doesn't do it.
right side, left side. You got this side, you got that side.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if he ain't gonna move, that means T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. Okay.
Then you got Zay Flowers and DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay. Packers got 17 receivers.
I'm not even quite sure how to quantify the Packers' top 2.
They just got 90 receivers.
Jaden Reed,
So the
Romeo
Lions.
Dobbs,
Yeah.
Christian Watson,
So the Lions.
Matthew
Yeah,
Golden,
yeah.
Lions got dudes too.
Lion got
I mean, all 5 of those guys.
Jamison Williams.
It's
and
unbelievable.
Amon-Ra St.
And you
Brown,
already know
and
what the Vikings,
Addison.
It's
and
almost like the
Justin
league
Jefferson.
just said to the Browns, yeah, we're going to get you guys up out of here real quick. You
Like-
guys can be in the Archie sweepstakes or whatever you want to call it. We're going to put you there first. So you're going to be the leader in the clubhouse. Everybody else going to be chasing you.
You can play those rookies by the by, and
Because, and here's the thing, when I was out there and he got hurt, they had Ronnie Hickman running the nickel. I would say, where's Cam Mitchell at? No, it was Ronnie Hickman.
No, they had Mitchell in the nickel yesterday.
Well, that was
Or
yesterday.
Two days ago. They didn't practice yesterday.
When I went there, they had Ronnie Hickman, and I said, "Is that a mix up, or maybe you going big?" I don't know if Ronnie Hickman can play in the slot like that. Either way,
that might just be it's early in camp.
it might be like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
maybe.
listen, go in there and just figure it out."
I mean, what do you do if Cam Mitchell goes down?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, and the thing, I look at the Martin Emerson. I wasn't here like the 2 days that after it happened, but this is why I always say this stuff get ugly early. You've already Quinshon Judkins. He ain't even signed. We ain't even seen him. Like he's
a ghost.
He's like you still have Mike Hall Jr. who's on the PUP list. we have not seen Jerome Ford extensively. Yeah, he's been doing a little practice on the side. You already lost Martin Emerson for the year. You got a hamstring with Kenny Pickett. Now, I don't know when he's coming back. Some people say, Jason, I heard you the other day said, it shouldn't be that long.
Mary Kay reported that he could be back in practice as early as tomorrow.
Okay. Well so
that's crazy because the early reports were it was significant.
Yeah. No, but that's good.
So we haven't even got to a point where we're hitting people yet and practicing with other teams. And these are the main guys that you are already missing. Yeah. And the defense was supposed to – I said if Browns are going to overachieve, they need 6, 7 wins. If they want to get 6, 7, 8 wins, you're going to need the defense to play great. And I'm looking at it. Well, they got 3 good corners, Delpit, Myles Garrett. I thought the defensive line, Mason Graham looked good in practice. The D-line is solid. I think Carson Schlesinger is going to end up with over 100-plus tackles. I'm like, okay, I can squint a little bit if they ball out and get back to what they want to do. But now it's like I got Greg Newsome on Justin Jefferson. Like I don't like that.
Lay hands on him and say a prayer before that.
Yeah, like that's yeah, that first 6 is nasty work.
Man, it just sucks being a Browns fan. It really does. It's like it's the first day of August.
No contact. Pull up.
Well, at least we got the Guardians, Jay. And tonight at a minimum.
Thank you.
Tonight at a minimum,
I feel so
the
much better
Guardians
now.
game is on WKYC. They are taking on I would call them the Twins, but I'm not quite sure who the hell is going to be in their lineup.
No,
they just traded basically their entire lineup,
the
their
St. Paul
entire
Twins
pitching
tonight.
staff. It is a good pitching matchup tonight for what it's worth. But the Guardians
Bro,
Twins
we can't
game
lose to these guys.
on
We can't let them lose.
WKYC. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. right here on WKYC. We're also on WKYC coming up in 25 minutes. But before we do that,
Who is pitching tonight?
we are thrilled to welcome
What
in
is the matchup tonight? You said it's a good pitching matchup. When I looked at it, I didn't think it was.
Gavin versus Joe Ryan.
Oh,
that is
yeah,
a
that's
good
right.
one.
Yeah.
It's like the only pitcher they kept. So that is tonight. But with that, we are thrilled to bring in Justin
Gavin's
Lotta,
been
the
great.
host of the Locked On Guardians podcast, now to talk a little baseball, trade deadline, and some prospects, because that's something Justin specializes in the couple weeks after the MLB draft. How you doing today, Justin?
Doing good. Trying to recover after that busy couple of hours.
Can you remember
honestly.
a more wild trading deadline than this year? It was bananas.
It was wild. I mean, I've had other wild trade deadlines, but the fact that everything happened in like the last, 6 to 8 hours, and especially the last couple of hours, was remarkable. I mean, 34 trades in the last 6 hours of the deadline.
And did I read this right? There were 40 relievers moved? 40?
It was a lot. I can't think of how many it was.
I think
but
it was this
a lot.
morning, I read there were 40 relievers moved. And we were talking, obviously, about the whole Emmanuel Clase debacle. He most certainly would have been moved.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because obviously that was the position that teams felt like they needed to go after to bolster their squads. Overall, Justin, and you can include the trades not made and the trades made, what grade do you give the Guardians for their deadline moves? And just kind of give us your quick thoughts on what they did.
Oh, grade's kind of tough. I mean, I almost want to give them an incomplete because, you didn't have a chance to see what the value was going to be for Emmanuel Clase. It sounded like they were pretty wishy-washy on whether or not they wanted to trade him or if they felt they could, and then obviously they had to be pulled out of any possible trades because they knew that he was going to be investigated and put on the restricted list. I guess if you want to put a grade on the trades they didn't made, it's going to be a C+. Like, I like the prospect they got, Cal Steven, for Shane Bieber, but you didn't have the chance to really explore Clase's value on the market, and they weren't able to trade, guys like Carlos Santana. They weren't able to trade any other relievers that they had, and you didn't really move Steven Kwan, which I'm okay with. I don't think it made sense to move Steven Kwan for the packages that they were receiving anyway.
Do you know what I guess it came down at the end anyhow, because I know there were more teams that were at least inquiring about him 2 or 3 days out. But in the furious last few hours, we were hearing the Padres, we were hearing the Mets, the Dodgers, and the Blue Jays. Do you know what any of those teams were said to be offering? We felt it would be 2 high-level prospects and maybe a plug-and-play guy, but that might have been the asking price. Did anybody come close that you know of?
The Guardians, I know, exchanged a lot of names, or at least did a lot of background research on Blue Jays and Phillies. So I'm not really sure what names they were involved in terms of what the Guardians were going to send. But the names I was reading, or at least I was hearing from those two teams, suggested we were talking about probably a Kwan or somebody else. Definitely Shane Bieber, obviously, because that happened. I don't know that the names that I heard for the Blue Jays and the Phillies made a lot of sense for Class A, but probably for Kwan, maybe other pieces. The Dodgers were extremely silent. I'm sure they had conversations, but that was a very quiet one. And then we know the names that came out for the Padres discussion was Leo DeVry, who ended up going to the Athletics in the Mason Miller deal. So the Guardians set a very high price on Kwan, deservedly so, and I think it made sense for them to do that because they didn't necessarily want to center their package around an 18-year-old shortstop. Like, if you're going to trade Steven Kwan, yeah, you have to get a guy who is plug and play right now, and you also have to get help for the future. I don't think it made sense to center a trade around somebody who is 2, 3, 4 years away.
Justin, I talked to Jason and Jay, and I said, look, and Jay kind of said, listen, he's a 4 out of 5 tool player, but he's missing the most impactful tool, which is to be a home run hitter or the power numbers. In your assessment, what is his value on the open market? What is the dollar amount? I mean, where would he kind of rank in the pecking order of somebody, and how much would the team pay for a guy who's really good, is an all-star, but people think he may not be an MVP type difference maker?
Yeah, it's a challenging market for sure because he plays a non-premium position. Now, he plays obviously fantastic defense at a non-premium position, gets on base and does have a little bit of slug, not a ton, but sets the table really well. I worry for him, especially for Cleveland. We're talking extensions. I know everybody wants to extend Steven Kwan and stay longer, but I worry for him is like he's had the hamstring issues. He had the wrist issue this year. Guys with his size don't necessarily age the best. So, like, you saw Andrew Benintendi, who arguably was a better prospect than Steven Kwan. I mean, Steven Kwan didn't make a lot of top 100 lists. And Andrew Benintendi was on a lot of top 100 lists. He got, 70 or 60 or 70 million from the White Sox, and he is not good anymore. Like, that's just a skill set that's really tough to figure out how it's going to age into his mid-30s. So I'm guessing he's going to want something north of 100 million, and I don't know that the Guardians are going to go there. And I don't blame them for not doing that based on how they're forced to operate. Now, if you operate with a higher payroll, and you could say, well, we could take that risk. That's great. I'd be all for that. But if you realistically look at it in the payroll area they operate, it's a big risk to take.
What did you think of the Bieber trade, and what do you think of Cal Steven?
Yeah, it's definitely disappointing that you don't get to see Shane Bieber one more time on the mound for the Guardians, right? Because in an ideal world, Shane Bieber comes back, and he's part of this rotation. He's part of this team, and you're making a push to the playoffs. But performance and injuries and suspensions played a role in the fact that he wasn't able to be part of that. You can also go back to the offseason and say, well, they didn't give themselves enough cover to be in a position to be better than they were or be as good as they were a year ago. But given the circumstances they're in, I think they did a really good job maximizing his value. You paid Shane Bieber, $7 million this year to rehab him.
I thought it was more than that. Wasn't it a one?
10, but 10 million was the deal, but the like 7.
Oh, I thought it was 14 million for year 1 and 16 for year 2 if he picked up the option. I could be wrong on my numbers.
I think it was 10 for this year, right, Justin? I think 10 this year, 16 next year, and a $4 million buyout next year.
Oh, that's where the other
$16 million.
Okay, and well, essentially you paid that money for Cal Steven,
yeah.
is what you did.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah. And Cal Steven's a better prospect than what they would have gotten if they kept Bieber and put a qualifying offer on him, which, let's be honest, they have not really used the qualifying offer. Go back to Michael Brantley. They didn't want to give it to him. I think Carlos Santana is the last guy they put a qualifying offer on. So I don't think they were going to do that. So Cal Steven gives you a much better prospect than you were going to get, even if you did do that. This is a guy I think immediately is the best pitching prospect in the organization. And I say that as somebody who likes a couple of their pitching prospects. But somebody who potentially could contribute as soon as next year. So I think they did a good job taking a guy who hasn't pitched all year for the big league team and really hasn't had a fully healthy season since 2022. And you've got a guy who's a universal, I think, top 100 pitcher or prospect across baseball.
For those that are asking this question, what is the concern on injury? Because you mentioned that he hasn't had a full season. He's injured now, correct?
Oh, if we're talking Cal Steven, I meant Bieber hasn't pitched since 2022. But yeah, Cal Steven was part of the 2024 draft class, and he pitched a little bit last year, I think. But this year, he went on the IL last week with the shoulder impingement. But everybody I talked to, including the Guardian, said that they don't consider this to be a serious injury. Good. That I think he's going to Arizona to finish off his rehab, and I would expect him to pitch in Akron sometime in the month of August.
Well, and you would even think if by some chance that the Guardians do hang around and are in that hunt for a wild card, it's possible we could see him in September.
Cal Steven, no, probably not. I don't think he's going to be a guy that you turn to in September. I mean, this organization right now doesn't really need rotation help because you traded Shane Bieber, obviously, because it makes sense to hang on to him, but the rotation's found its footing. Like Tanner Bybee, I still think is going to be fine, even though it's been kind of an up and down season. Gavin Williams has been great lately.
Yeah.
Logan Allen's been
tremendous lately.
Yeah, Slade Cicconi's been great. And then you also have guys like Parker Messick in AAA who's ready to contribute. And I don't know what's going to happen with this, but remember, you still have John Means who's out in Arizona, and they expect him to be maybe a potential reinforcement this month or in September. So I don't think you even need Cal Steven this year.
Real quick, let's wrap with just their draft this year. We were talking earlier in the show, it felt like a pivot in how they are approaching hitting and going more toward guys who can hit the ball out of the ballpark. What are your thoughts on Lavalette and just in general the guys that they drafted this year?
I don't think they did a full pivot because Lavalette and Nolan Schubart represent the guys that can hit the ball to the ballpark, but guys like Dean Curley and Aaron Walton and Luke Hill, those are kind of their typical usual pass guys. So I don't think it was a full departure. It was just trying to balance out what was available in a very weak draft class and what was on the board at the time and trying to – they always take gambles in the first round. Like, go back, Daniel Espino, Gavin Williams were all risks. Chase DeLauder was a risk because he was hurt in college too. Like, they take gambles in the first round, and it doesn't always work out for them. Jace Lavalette, a lot of power, interesting player, obviously not a kind of player they have in their system currently. I give them credit for trying to do something different because what they've been doing hasn't worked, and they needed to diversify their tools in the system because they didn't even have tools in their system they can trade. Like, that's been the problem. They don't have guys with big power like Lavalette or guys with 70-grade tools that no other teams want to trade for. So I give them credit for that. But Lavalette, I'm a little bit concerned because that strikeout rate in college does not translate well to the majors. There are not a lot of examples that work well in the majors, and they just haven't really developed a lot of hitters. So do you think this is a guy they can realistically develop? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a concern. One final thing on the overall trade deadline winners and losers. I love what Seattle did. I love what San Diego did. I am aghast at what Minnesota did. What's your takeaway across the league?
Yeah, it was a weird deadline. I mean, obviously the Padres bullpen is completely insane right now. The Mariners did a good job getting a couple of hitters. They added a reliever too, so I think they're good. The Angels were strangely buyers, which I never understand. What stood out to me is what little the Tigers and the Cubs did. I mean, the Tigers got Paul Sewald from Cleveland, who can't pitch till September, Charlie Morton, and I'm trying to think of who else they got, but it was a pretty weak deadline for the Tigers overall. And then the Red Sox, did almost nothing. And then the Cubs, who are in a fantastic position, went out and added a guy who's a sixth starter and then a reliever, and then Willie Castro, who's an ex-Guardians prospect. But a lot of inactivity from teams I thought were really at the top of their division, had a real strong chance, and then ended up not doing a whole lot.
Yeah, it's mostly the chasers that were active this trade deadline, and those that are sitting in pretty good spots felt that they like their team. They've got 110 games or whatever in the barn, and they know what they have and they like what they have. It's going to be I can't wait for September and October. In the American League, so many teams are involved for the wild card, including the Guardians. It's going to be fun to see those that separate themselves from the pack. We should be in for a great September and hopefully a good October too. Justin, thanks. We appreciate you coming on.
Always enjoy it, guys. Thank you.
I thought
you can hear more Justin stuff on Locked On Guardians. And just a reminder, tonight's WKYC game on Channel 3 WKYC. So make sure you guys tune in to check out the Guardians take on, once again, whoever the Twins are going to put in their lineup because they traded half their team away yesterday. right here on
bunch of guys.
WKYC.
One last thought to button up Justin, and we've seen this trend really. I think it goes back to 16 in the World Series between the Cubs and the Indians. What Tito was doing, what Joe Madden was doing, they were, the starters were around for a few, and then it became bullpen games. And if you had strong arms in the back of the bullpen, and we've seen that carry on really the next decade. And what the Padres did, I thought, was really the cherry on the top of that sundae, where they've studied, they know what's winning, they know how you win these World Series, and their bullpen is insane.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And you get 4 or 5 innings out of your starters, and then you turn it over to these guys that all have different looks. They all throw extremely hard. They're making it really difficult to score runs in the latter half of games, and I think that is the new blueprint for how you win.
It must be something about Southern California, because the Rams won the Super Bowl and Les Snead wore that F them picks shirt. And A.J. Preller is going to have the shirt that says F them prospects.
Yeah, you're right.
Because if you look on paper, I know you don't play on paper. On paper, Preller drastically overpaid in what he gave up in prospect capital for what he got. Drastically overpaid. Now, if they win the World Series, nobody's going to care.
No one cares.
No one's going to care.
Just like the Rams.
Leo
When,
DeVries-
And the Rams never really had a tank after that. They've always been pretty competitive for the most part, but the Padres, what they gave up is just jaw-dropping.
A.J. Preller is totally insane. He trades half the roster every year.
It's crazy.
It's totally like I think they take advantage of the fact they're the only team in town right now. With the Chargers leaving, they've got the full market now.
Oh yeah. Oh.
And the Padres, I remember when they signed Machado, I'm like, well, this ain't gonna last. We're gonna have to trade him. And they just keep spending, and they keep adding too.
His bag is different.
It's deep.
I mean,
I went to San Diego and was just like, dang,
beautiful stadium.
This is
it's gorgeous.
It's a baseball town.
I mean,
I'm like, this crazy.
Mason Miller just went from pitching in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, for a AAA team to now a chance to win a World Series in one of the best parks in the league.
It's crazy.
And I agree with you on the Mariners. I thought the Mariners had the best trade deadline of anybody. Actually,
I think
even
they won
better
the
than the
deadline.
Padres.
Yep, I think the Padres made more moves, but the pieces that the Mariners added, when you look at where they were and what they added to their roster, my goodness.
Yeah, they are a wagon right now in the American League.
All right, we got super chats before we head over to WKYC. The first super chat comes from Miss Bell 70, who says, Haslam said he didn't want Shedeur. Up to him, he wouldn't be there. Was that
he didn't say
necessary?
that. No, he didn't say that.
We
never said
addressed
that.
that earlier in the show. BP said, you people are so full of poop. G. Bush, you let us down, man. Keep the same energy as the barbershop.
I mean, I don't know what the.
Why'd you let him down?
I said that they should. I said if Shedeur balls, they would get a definite bump in the game, and if he balls out, they're gonna get extensions. By the way, I also said, hey, if they don't want to play him and they ain't getting it done, his spot might be somewhere else. Like, so, at the end of the day, it is what it is. And the main thing I always say is, you're going to get an opportunity to show what you're going to do. It's up to you to do what you're going to do when you get it. So you got the opportunities.
James Cosby says, Shedeur is a godsend for the Browns organization. He is a tremendous character kid and a strong work ethic. He's a great guy and a proven winner.
I don't
Dragon.
know about godsend, but I agree with the rest of it.
Yeah, Godsend's pretty steep.
The rest of it is spot on.
He's a great kid. He turned a program around that was dead in the water.
By the way, even Mary Kay, when she was on the show I was watching the other day, even Mary Kay came on and said, look, I've been surprised at the way he's talked. I think he's been great with the media. I think he's been great with the community. And I think he earned the reps that he got.
He is extremely likable. I've said that multiple times on the show. He's extremely likable.
And you can't root against him either. He's
infectious.
I know a lot of one of the rubs is that he's arrogant. I don't see that. I just don't see an arrogance to him. I see a confidence to him. But guess what? At that position, if you're not, get to the back of the line.
Yeah.
I think he brings an appropriate approach when it comes to confidence. And I love the way he carries himself. He carries himself, and this is, I think, because he's Deion's kid. He carries himself like an 8-year vet who's got 6 Pro Bowls under his belt. Good. I like that.
Dragon the Abandoner says,
That's a great
Shedeur stands are making everyone walk on eggshells. I'm a big Shedeur fan myself, but this is getting ridiculous. He's literally going to play in 1 week. Let's all chill out.
I don't ever walk on eggshells.
What does that mean, walk on eggshells? Like, his fans are making people walk on eggshells?
I think some people are afraid to criticize Shedeur because of the
They shouldn't be.
backlash you would get from the Shedeur.
Nonsense. That's nonsense.
Yeah.
Like even
Complete nonsense.
I think he's
That's
talking
not fair to Shedeur Sanders, by
I
the
think
way.
he's talking about in the chat.
Oh well, listen.
Well, I don't know what things are like in there, but I can tell you that's not fair to Shedeur Sanders to say that.
I always say this: if you mirror the behavior of with Shedeur is unbothered. He has not changed his personality type. He's been cool, calm, collected. And even when you go back and watch Coach Prime, and Coach Prime talks about this, he said, Shedeur said, look, man, don't come down here and visit me. I came and visit Shiloh because I'm not getting no reps right now. But listen, trust me, when I get my reps, I'm going to show out what I could do. And his dad says, you know what? Cool, I believe that. Make the main thing the main thing.
And that would be a distraction that he doesn't need.
And so
He doesn't need that.
And guess what? Shedeur's response, he's savvy enough to understand that.
Yes, absolutely. Most kids would be like, come on down, Pops. I want you to see what I have.
Nah,
But look, low key, under the radar. The first big thing that happened with him wasn't great.
See,
with the ticket.
I know we're out of time. I actually don't like that because every dad needs his pops. So who cares about the distraction and the spot? Like
he can be there for him without being here in Cleveland.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's every dad isn't Deion Sanders. Well,
listen,
you know
if
what kind of
Shedeur told him,
circus it would be if Deion Sanders was on the
I know,
sidelines.
and I know the interview you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so if Shedeur says, I don't need you here, okay, fine. But as a dad, you want to be there.
Of course you want to be there.
Hey,
Right?
one super chat.
Go
Then we
ahead,
can
go
finish this.
ahead.
Last super chat. Charles T says the point of adding Terry would be a young receiver help. Terry just helped a young quarterback. He'd bring that knowledge to the receiver and quarterback.
No, it costs too much money. They
Okay,
don't
you guys
have it.
continue.
Not at that price tag.
No, and plus here's the thing.
I say screw the noise, screw the spot. Like, support your kid. And now if he doesn't want you there, then you honor his request.
How many other players, rookies, have their dads at camp?
Probably more than
There's a lot of people come.
You can
their
come
family and friends come to camp.
I don't know. I asked that question with.
Odell's mom was at camp quite often.
I'm talking about rookies trying to make a club.
Yeah.
You know,
I see Flourier.
I hear what you're saying, and you're probably
well,
right.
He's local, but I don't know that you're seeing necessarily his family.
I mean more in Cleveland than on the practice field.
Yeah.
I mean more go see your, because I know rookies, there's a lot of parents that, I think Darius Garland's parents moved with him to Cleveland.
Yeah.
See, the problem with Deion is
I know.
You got 5 seconds.
You
Jay.
can't hide this guy. See on KYC.
I know.
Much more talk about Cleveland sports, I promise.